Unattractive people, what's the most frustrating part about dating? Not getting a date? Yeah, I was about to say, you guys are getting dates? FR man, it's like step 1 of dating is actually getting a date. And if you ain't got the looks, good luck LMAO. Try and get on a dating app. Realize you need to post pictures of yourself. Feel ugly just looking at yourself, so never mind. Fucking Hinge requires 6 pics before you can even swipe on people. Like, can I just at least try with the 3 decent pics I have? Not all the pics have to be of you. Try adding 2 to 3 pics that show something about your interests or personality, e.g. concerts, sporting events, travel, hobbies, or pets. Even a tasteful meme can be a good way to show off your sense of humor. I tried to add a pic of me in a Power Ranger helmet. I cosplay some, and fucking Tinder removed it for violating copyright. Dude, I feel this so hard. Like, I get all motivated to try dating apps, but the second I have to pick a picture, it's game over. Just staring at my own face like, yeah, no one's swiping on this. Then I just close the app and go back to whatever sad thing I was doing before. Getting cheated on, and then just deciding it's fine because I cannot reasonably assume anyone else will ever want me. Damn, I thought I was depressed lol. You can always think lower, my guy. Hope you don't though. I've never seen something so negative be so positive at the same time. Constant battle of gaslighting yourself that you look good and realizing you don't every time you open Snapchat. My wife says I'm just not photogenic. My exes said the same thing, but the only reference I have is a photo or the mirror. I'm a 5'6" at best to me. My wife rates me a 9. I think she's lying. Being held to a far higher standard than attractive people. You have to be near perfect in everything non-appearance-wise to get the same treatment as an attractive person who puts in even lackluster effort. And any flaws that you have will be much less likely to be tolerated. And because people see much faster with their eyes than they listen with their ears, many people will reject you due to your looks before you've even ever had a chance to show them what kind of personality or character you have. Yup, my ex was gorgeous and I'm fat and not. I was held to this crazy standard while other guys she was with previously didn't get held to that standard. I'm glad I was able to stop gaslighting myself and walked away. I genuinely loved her and her kids, but at a certain point it felt like she loved the idea of me and not actually me. Now I'm happy just raving and working on myself. No more dealing with her fake excitement. She was a solid 9 though. No one could believe I pulled that ass and I was proud of myself for locking it down for a while. I'm an unattractive woman and I don't feel frustration about dating. However, I feel frustration when someone disrespects unattractive women in general. I mean, you don't have to feel attraction for someone, but you don't have the right to disrespect that person either. I feel worse when you see comments about how ugly an attractive woman is. Like when someone comments on an average-looking celebrity's page how ugly they are, and how they wouldn't go near them with a 10-foot pole. I'm like, damn, if you think they are ugly, I can't imagine what they think I'm like. Think about this. People who insult someone about their body. A different thing is not feeling attraction, but it's not necessary to be rude, are people who need to do that in order to feel better with themselves. So, you shouldn't care too much about what they like. You should care about how you feel with yourself, though. So many men seem to think every woman is created just for them to gawk over or for their sexual pleasure. These seem to be the same jerks that feel the need to vocalize their opinions, which if they find you attractive or not, either way what comes out of their mouth will be insulting. They make things terrible for any woman. Hopefully you don't let them get to you. Dating? I'm invisible. This needs more upvotes. People act like if you aren't attractive that you're in the game, that it's just harder. Not really, because often it's like you are literally invisible in the dating context. One indicator of this is if you ask somebody out and they are shocked. And they aren't shocked like flattered or taken off guard. It's almost like it didn't even occur to them that you would even think you were dateable. You better be funny or rich. Being rich is great if you want to be taken advantage of. Luckily I'm also cheap so nobody ever knows lol. I am funny and friendly, smart too, and well, not exactly rich, but I make roughly a small cul-de-sac of median family incomes, own a comically oversized home for a single person, with a mortgage, and paid cash for my most recent car. Those are great qualities I'm glad I have. but they don't make me dateable. I'm currently too scared to go out on a date because I'm afraid the guy I'm talking to will fake an emergency or something and leave. I don't have the energy to spend 6 months recovering from that. If that's how you feel, then put your absolute worst pics on your profile. That way, the only way you can surprise them is by looking better than your pictures. My current girlfriend did that. I think she's a smoke show, easy 9, but her pictures were on the 6.5 to 7 side, and she showed me some photos from her Instagram and I was like, OMG, why weren't these on your profile? And she said it was to avoid exactly that, people only wanting her for her best looks. Going on Tinder and then progressively lowering your standards until you start getting matches, then being unattracted to the people who are in your league. And then the realization of what your league consists of hits you hard. You'll get dropped all the time with no explanation. Or just the fact that you get treated like you're beneath them, inferior. A lot of people will make it obvious that they aren't attracted to you, but at the same time try to lie and say they are to make you feel better, and it just gets weird. We'd much rather you be upfront if there isn't any attraction. It hurts, but hurts less than being flat out lied to save our emotions. We are people, we can tell. You don't get the fun stuff like flowers or dates. You kinda get the bare minimum. Some people try to hide you or make public appearances minimal. Sucks. I think constant rejection. I think you're a great guy but don't feel a spark, etc. is an obvious one, although with that there's at least the possibility that the lack of attraction isn't purely based on physical attractiveness. It's been years since I've dated, so perhaps things are a bit different now, but when I dated back in the 2010 era, while online dating was a thing, and people had photos, it wasn't the sort of situation where everyone had a ton of photos, videos online. So there was at least a bit of ambiguity when it came to the exact appearance of someone you were meeting online. I very distinctly remember one first date I went on where I arrived at the cafe and sat down, waiting for my date to arrive. I saw her as she walked through the door and waved to her. The look on her face when she saw me could only be described as goof, just instant disappointment. She came over and we talked for a while. She was cordial and polite, but very clearly just trying to be a responsible adult. After exactly 30 minutes, she claimed she had to leave. Then came the, "You're a nice guy but," email. So I'd say, "The look of disappointment upon meeting you." When people say something along the lines of, "Even if you're not attractive, you can still get dates if you have a personality, or you're funny, or you're interesting." I don't have a personality. I'm not funny and I'm boring. And they tell me to work on that but also to be myself. There won't be a second date after the first one. You know that feeling of being giddy when you are talking to your crush? Knowing that you will never have that effect on someone. As an experienced ugly, no one ever approaches me and I never experience the male gaze. I walk around feeling like I'm surrounded by NPCs. Or maybe I'm the non-player character. As a dude, I feel like a non-player character. I honestly don't think women ever consider that dating me is even an option. At least it doesn't feel that way. I don't think I'm ugly. Exactly, just average enough to blend into the background. In the last several years, the only people, aside from family, that have said anything about my looks, and usually just my eyes, are women who are married and old enough to be my mom. I'm really not sure what to make of that. Feeling like everything is a mountain to climb than others. I got a couple good-looking friends that pretty much just roll out of bed, go out, and find women interested in them. Meanwhile, I feel like I need to spend 2 to 3 hours behind a mirror as a guy, wear the nicest clothes, make sure I'm on top of my skincare regimen at all times, etc. Nothing anymore. I gave up on that game, PSH, probably 10 years ago. Maybe more. It was more of a gradient than a moment. But for a time, it was the inner turmoil that came from believing it was possible, falling way too easily for just about anyone, constant rejection, and gradually coming to see that no, it's actually not possible. Then kinda confirming that with dating apps. Some people just have to get good at being single. And besides, people who can date can do a lot worse than that. Constant rejections. And I mean constant. To the point where you go from someone who fails sometimes to a failure. It's a bit like being fat. There is always someone else. I date a girl for 1 to 3 months and we are vibing hard. We have obviously slept together, and when I go to be official, it's always, "Oh, I really like this other guy too, let me see what happens with that." Then some amount of time passes and they find out they don't fit well with them outside of their looks and come back. And I just can't bring myself to allow that and always be this second person, 'cause it will always be that way. Meeting people who genuinely enjoy talking to you online but don't want your physical presence. Not even restricted to just dating. What's the most frustrating part about dating? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.